and welcome back to my channel. Today I am talking about a very requested video, and this has come from me and Tim have just moved into our second house. I am 24. We kept our first house. We're renting that out. So it's going to be a money saving video, how we save for our second house. It is going to be two parts. So the first part is going to be more about money mindset, a little bit woo-woo, but bear with me because the second part is going to be actionable steps. And I honestly think you need both. Me personally, I needed both to really get to the point where we could save a good amount of money for our next house and just sort of release any money blocks because I had a couple. I also want to thank Shopback for sponsoring this video. Guys, you know how much I love Shopback. It is a shopping platform where if you shop through them, you get cash back on all your purchases, and they have all well-known stores, but I'll get into them a little bit later, and I do have a sign-up bonus for you, so wait until I get into that. That's more in the actionable steps. So let's get into part one of this video, which is going to be around money mindset. I personally grew up in a family where I was taught from a young age to be money conscious, and I was taught a lot of saving hacks, and I was very privileged in that way, and I appreciate the way my parents brought me up so much. Like, I literally remember from the legal age I could work, like I was working, I loved to save money. If I wanted something, for example, my first car, my dad was like, awesome, you have to buy it yourself, let's sit down and plan this out. I'm very blessed in that respect. In saying that, I did notice a couple of years ago, I had to do a bit of a process where I looked at my money mindset and I had to conquer a couple of limiting beliefs. So what is a limiting belief? A limiting belief is something that you believe that is limiting you from reaching your full potential, or it's just like holding you back in life. A money limiting belief will be things like something that maybe you grew up, and I grew up with this saying too, like money doesn't just grow on trees. So basically it's not just available, it's something that's hard to come by. Or maybe you grew up where, you know, your parents were like, you know, money is evil and money makes people do bad things. So you have that belief. All those beliefs that I just talked about, they're not actually facts. They're just beliefs, and these sorts of beliefs can really hold you back in regards to a money mindset. So personally, for me, it was probably around 2 years ago, I actually read this book, which I cannot recommend enough. It's called How to Be a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. This video isn't like long enough, but I highly recommend if you heard some of those beliefs and that's your current belief, go read a book, do some work on those and change those beliefs, because that would be holding you back. Also, something with mindset is realizing that you wanting more money and more abundance does not make you selfish. So I remember I kind of had this belief, like, you know, wanting more money, wanting to be wealthy, or wanting a new house made me selfish and greedy. And that is also a limiting belief that will hold you back. So for example, with this new house, before we bought it, I do like this whole like manifesting thing, which I will get into, but something that I used to tell myself is I deserve this house. It's a beautiful house. Like, it's literally the house of my dreams, and I would have thoughts that pop up that would say, you're only 24, you do not deserve something like this. And I would push them back down and I would say, no, I deserve something like this. You probably don't even realize that you're doing it, but think about if you think you deserve to have wealth, to have abundance, because if you don't, that will be something that is holding you back. And I suggest you have some sort of money mantra or something that you say to yourself when those thoughts pop up. Also, another thing you need to realize is when you have more money, you have resources, and the more resources you have, you generally do better things with them. So for example, I started a podcast at the start of the year. When I started it, I had to use all my own funds, and people who listen, that's a completely free resource for them. And I know it has helped hundreds of girls just because of the messages that I have got. And the thing is, if I didn't have the money, I wouldn't have been able to put that out there. And that's what I mean is, if I didn't have the money behind me to be able to do that podcast, I would not have been able to impact those girls' lives. And so I guess that's kind of breaking the stigma around money and wealth. And if that's something that, like, if you're watching this video and you're like, oh my God, this is so weird, she's talking about money, you can't really comprehend it, you need to do some work on your money mindset. So go read a book, there's heaps of podcasts, and work on that, because this would be something that would hold you back. The last thing I'm going to say on mindset, and then we're going to get into the actionable steps, is to practice gratitude. I only started doing this the last couple of years, but I honestly think it makes the biggest difference. I saw this quote the other day and I absolutely love it. And it was something like, if you don't appreciate what you have now, what makes you think you'll be happy with more? And it's so true, because I personally write a gratitude list every single day. In the morning, I write 3 things I am grateful for. It just really shifts your mindset. And I find you need to be showing gratitude to the universe, or whatever you want to call it, to attract the abundance back. Okay, so let's get into part 2. These are more actionable steps that me and Tim took to save money for our second house. The first step I recommend is getting clear with your current financial situation. This is so important. So you really need to sit down with yourself or with your partner, and you need to have a look at, what current debts do I have? What current money do I have coming in? Tim has a stable wage. I personally don't. So that's something we really had to take into consideration. We personally don't have any other loans apart from our mortgage. So it was probably quite easy, because we literally just had our mortgage payments, our income, and it was quite clear to sort of make a plan. Another suggestion I recommend to get clear on your current financial situation, and something that we did, is we saw a mortgage broker, and if you get a good one, they will literally tell you, you give them all your details. And in Australia, a mortgage broker is completely free, so why wouldn't you do it? And this is even if you're not thinking of buying your house for 2 years or something like that. It's free and it's really easy, and I think it's going to be really helpful for you to get clear on your current financial situation, because they will just be black and white with you. It's important to find a good one. I would go off recommendations. That's what we did. We found a really good one. Otherwise, go to a couple and kind of just see what they say. So the second thing that we did after getting clear on the financials is we made a plan. So we basically mapped out, okay, we need to borrow this amount of money. We want to borrow it at this time. How much money do we need from here to here? Split it by 2. What is that weekly? Fully make a plan. This should tell you exactly how much you need to save per week. If it seems a bit extreme and you just you cannot do it, put the time limit out. It's really important that you are clear on how much money you can spend. So for example, me and Tim, we said we're saving this amount of money each per week for the new house. We also had a mortgage for our other house, so that was already out of the discussion, and we just halved that. And then we also saved $100 each per week for bills. So there was 3 payments already coming out of our incomes, and then the rest of the money we said to each other, we can spend that on whatever we want. So I was really clear on my spending money, which I think is really important. It makes you feel less guilty when you do spend money, but with that money, it wasn't necessarily a lot. So that's why I had to really get clear on my priorities. what I actually did, and this is another thing, is if you are saving with your partner, I think it's really important for you guys to be on the same level. So you need to have this conversation. Like me and Tim sat down, we both agreed that we wanted to borrow this set amount of money and we would do it at this time, and then we were on the same level with saving. Whereas if your partner is not on the same level, it's going to be extremely hard because they're probably going to go off and spend money and then you're going to become resentful. So I think it's really important to be on the same level with this. And then also like with your priorities. So for example, I actually went through my whole entire bank statement and I had a look at what I was spending my money on. I put it into lists of like groceries or gym clothes, all that sort of thing. And I really got clear and I said to myself, okay, what can I not live without? What can I live without for this certain amount of time? Tim did the exact same thing. Something we realized is we were spending way too much money on like Deliveroo, and I know it's like Deliveroo, it's like a fee on top and their meals are often more expensive than they actually are. Like that's how they make their money, and that's a small amount of money, but we were getting it so many times during the week and on the weekend. Like it was to the point where it was costing us so much money. We decided limiting that. Another thing we realized is, you know, like date nights and dates are so expensive. Like you can go out to a restaurant, a nice restaurant, have 2 meals, have some drinks, it's easily $150. In the grand scheme of things, that is actually a lot of money when you add it up. So we then decided that, you know, date nights were just going to be picnics and like cheaper sort of things, and we would eat in. We just sorted out what are our priorities and what can we like limit ourselves on. So once you're clear on your priorities, the next step that I sort of implemented was to be savvy and smart with my money. This is actually where Shopback comes in, because guys, I love to online shop and I still was buying things during this time period, but I was just being smart with it. So basically I wouldn't get anything unless it was on sale, and shopping through Shopback, you actually get cash back on your purchases. Literally most online stores, like me personally that I shop at, were on Shopback. ASOS, Myer, Deliveroo, Uber Eats, like booking, like if you're booking any holidays, Princess Polly, Gymshark. And so basically you get a percentage cash back on your spending, and that's because you're shopping through their platform. They have a browser and an app. A browser, like you can shop on a website or an app. I'll put up here, you can see what I've done and it shows you how much cash back. So even though these are small amounts, my dad's greatest saying was look after your cents and your dollars will follow. So this sort of stuff adds up, and then I'll also show you like my overall account. I've saved $400 using Shopback. And so let's be honest, everyone's doing online shopping. You're going to be spending the money anyway. You might as well get on Shopback and get cash back for your purchases. I do have a $10 sign up bonus. So if you sign up through my link, which I will put in the description, you will get $10 sign up bonus. So make sure you take advantage on that. And it's just like, it's so simple and quick. I guarantee you're shopping on the stores on Shopback. It would be silly if you didn't do it. And it's just like a small little saving hack that you can do. So the next thing that I personally did was I talked about my saving goals. Obviously me and Tim sat down and we spoke about it, so we're on the exactly same page. And then also I spoke to my parents, I spoke to my friends, and I was like, hey, you know, we're saving for this next house. And it's also good, like for example, my friend Isabel was also saving around the exact same time. So we're like, oh look, we can do a girls' night, but it's got to be cheap. And also I just find expressing and putting it out there, it's kind of like putting it out into like the universe. I know that's woo-woo, but I definitely believe in all that sort of stuff. And so you're putting it out there. You're like, this is going to happen. This is what I'm saving for. And I just think expressing yourself in that way is really important. And then the last step is just being really committed to your saving goals. For example, for me, commitment looks like, you guys know I'm like really into like my manifesting and all that sort of stuff. On my vision board, which is like behind me, I put pictures of like my dream house before we bought this house. And it's weird because like when you look at the photos, they look exactly like my house. Manifestation, love it. I saw that every single day. This is in my office if I was on my computer doing a bit of online shopping, I could then look up and I saw my dream house, and it was just like, you know, what's the priority? Sometimes I'd still buy the thing online, but I think it just really helps having your saving goal in front of you, which is why I love vision boards. If you want to know how to do a vision board, I actually have a whole YouTube on it, which I will link, so you can check that out. And another thing that I do is every morning at 9 a.m. I have an alarm that goes off and I write down my goals and affirmations. And for so long, I put saving for our second house in my goals. I write my goals a little bit differently, and for me it's like more about feeling. So my goal was, you know, me and Tim live at the Gold Coast because that's where we wanted to move to. We're in this beautiful Hamptons house, we're a walk away from the beach, and it feels like home. And so I would write that every single day, and you can just imagine, like, I'm writing that in the morning, how much that is ticking in my mind and how it becomes a priority, and basically I get committed to my saving goal. These little things help so much because your saving goal becomes your priority. So you'll second guess, you know, if you actually need those pair of boots, or could that, you know, $80 be going towards your dream house? You need to find what's going to make you committed and put it into practice. I didn't want to get too personal in the actionable steps because everyone has different circumstances, everyone has different incomes, expenses, but I think it's important, like, you need to do the work, you need to get clear on your financial situation, do all these steps and actually put things into place and make your saving goal a commitment and a priority, and you will get there. But that is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have some insight, found it helpful. If you do want to take advantage of that Shopback offer, I will put it in the description. It's a $10 sign up bonus. But also, I'd love to know with you guys about the whole money mindset thing. I just feel like not many people talk about it, and it has been such a big shift for me. So let me know in the comments if you currently have money blocks or limiting beliefs, or if you've kind of progressed through them or anything like that. I will see you in my next video. I hope you enjoyed this. Have a lovely day or night whenever you're watching it.